Film 3. Marija stroked my head. I sat watching the slow smoke from the cigar that she took with her to Europe. She thought that sometimes the fish ran away with the bait. I picked up on that thought. A shadow of doubt can obscure the greatest brightness. I answered her mentally. She laughed. She was that little puppy again, her Indian sense of smell circling my dreams. Our thoughts were one again. But this time with the addition of great tenderness. We sat in time twisted between the furniture, touching each of us individually. He pecked and retreated behind the curtain of incompleteness, trying to taste the taste of young and old. In fact, my mission in Europe was coming to an end. However, since Marija did come, it was an opportunity to show her this world, called for unknown reasons and wrongly, the old world. We wandered aimlessly around the alleys and drove buses around the city. We visited acquaintances and pseudo-friends about whom we knew how miserable their scruples and how poor their eyesight were. We sat on the edge of the fountains and fed pigeons in the squares. We ate ice cream and played cash checkers with local street champions. In the evening she said it was time for sex. And we turned immediately towards the house, where there was a room with cans full of Micha movies. She laughed but looked at the closed room. She knew from my head what I saw there. She felt uncomfortable when I opened the door. She chose the can herself and handed me a spool of film. I felt something strange as I took it from her hand. It was the most important movie she felt. She gave it to me with clear esteem. She watched with fear as I put the spool on the feeder. Apage satanas say or better. Remember the clay your mother. Oh sweet Ishtar, lover of my body. Vanishing Hacienda Film 3. I always associated the word hacienda with a large cottage. As a child, I thought that if I stretched out appropriately, it would be chachenda. And I was not very wrong. Like my sculpture professor, he thought the blade was called a screeching blade because when it saws it screams. Only we, being students, made him aware of a bit. We sat down with Marija on the weedy armchairs next to each other. A streak of light from the projector caught smoke that drifted through the apartment. The projector rattled. Some dry fields appeared vaguely, and the road was straight as he shot to the horizon. The harsh sun scorched the bad landscape, revealing the outlines of houses on the right side of the road. The camera apparently placed on the Jeep approached the hacienda, twisting the lens straight towards it. The car was standing on the road and the hacienda being filmed was about 100 or 200 meters away from the camera. The narrator told something in an agitated voice about the road reconstruction plans and the urban development of the area on both sides of it. About the fact that no one local wanted to buy this plot or even lease it for free. The second car crew, a geologist, as his words implied, explained the dependence of the rock contour settlement and the need for sediment measurements in this area. They took the camera on purpose, as none of the local officials wanted to visit the hacienda or could say anything about its inhabitants or inhabitants. The administration was powerless. Therefore, officially sent surveyors and road construction officials were to film and state the state of affairs on the spot. The Jeep turned in the dust towards the hacienda. The image jumped several times as they drove off the road, breaking branches of thorny acacia trees and crushing small roadside cacti. The projector rattled. Frame after frame, sent in a beam of light, was projected on the hanging rectangle of the screen. Marija was sitting petrified. Not a single muscle twitched in her face. Not a single blink of her eyes broke the numbness. Staring and enchanted by the film, she thought absolutely nothing. Though millions of images flashed through her head, but I couldn't read them. I felt fear. But I knew she was not afraid. It was just sitting and watching. Just enough. That's why I got scared. I felt my heart racing and my breathing stopped. Somewhere halfway between my tongue and lungs, my voice was stuck. The Jeep was driving towards the hacienda and approached the broken wire fence as the hacienda was out of sight, the camera still showing the wasteland. The entire household suddenly ceased to exist. The camera carefully filmed the entire area and the mountains in the distance. The Jeep drove along the fence until it found a breach and drove onto the property. From where it should be about 50 meters to the buildings. But there was nothing there. Just sun-dried pieces of rust-colored earth and dry sticks between the stones. People spoke with raised voices shouting to each other as they rode all over the place. They diligently filmed everything, even the watch of one of the geologists sent a piece of the map, where they stuck their fingers strenuously showing various points of reference and locations. They got back on the road. Moving away, the camera kept filming the place where the hacienda had disappeared. On the way, they met an Indian woman in a hat walking along the side of the road. They pointed questioningly at the hacienda, or rather the place. She was last here in 1938. The Indian said without surprise. Marija jumped on me and hugged me with all her might. Then she passed out and fell between the seats without feeling. and I screamed with all my being. The world is cruel and there must be refuges somewhere. Dead bodies littered the valley. The people rejoice. The victory was great. The toothless souls flew away. The foreskins have been cut off. Slaves filled the quarries with screams under the whip. God's hand writes straight even when the lines are crooked. But, I am the tester for you, which carries God's balls.